My name is Anna Wright. I'm 35, and for a living, I talk people down from ledges made of lost reservations and broken elevators. I'm a front desk manager at a midtown hotel, which means my smile has muscle memory and my voice can fold a problem into a polite solution before it grows teeth. I know how to remove gum from a Persian rug without leaving a shadow. I know the exact tone that gets an upgrade without provoking a complaint. People hand me their chaos disguised as questions, and I hand them calm wrapped in, of course, absolutely. At home, calm is something I pretend I don't miss. 2 bedrooms in Queens. Eli is 9 and growing out of socks midweek. Sophie is 6 and collects stickers like apologies. Their dad, Thomas, and I co-parent like teammates who learned not to pass blame, just backpacks. We text logistics, swap jackets when one of the kids forgets, and refuse nostalgia with a nod. It's not friendship exactly, but it's steady. Steady is underrated. Steady, though, can be a costume for silence. For years, every holiday meant the same soft sentence from my family. There's no room for your kids. The words were always padded by my mother's gentle sighs, by my father's quiet, practical tone, by my sister Lily's sparkle. The reasons changed the way weather does. Basement under renovation, guest room set for the twins. Mocha the golden doodle needs a quiet space. But the result didn't. There was room for Lily's 5-year-old twins, Theo and Piper, and there was room for Mocha, who once got a stocking with his name stitched in gold thread. My children got porch hugs and a to-go plate. I learned to call it logistics. We'll stop by early, I'd say, like that was normal. I'd keep the car warm, pack coloring books, take driveway photos because the living room was staged for someone else. The first year I brought Eli as a baby, Mom said, "Just stop in for hugs, sweetheart. It's chaos with the twins." When we arrived, 2 high chairs sat at the table with place cards, Theo and Piper. I bounced Eli near the coat closet while Lily laughed in the kitchen. "We totally forgot your little guy needs to sit too," she sang, not moving anything. Dad said, "We'll make do," like the words could build a chair from air. Mocha hopped into his lap and the conversation pivoted to dog sweaters. Christmas after that, Mom called a week before. "Full house, darling. Come at 8 for coffee." Presents were at 10. We left at 9:30. Through the window, the twins wore matching pajamas under the tree, Lily's voice bright as a Macy's ad. I told Eli we would do gifts at home. He was too little to know the difference. I told myself that and swallowed the burn that came with it. Next year will be different, I kept saying, like a superstition that didn't like the light. Excuses mutated. The basement's mid-Reno. Your kids don't sleep well in new places. The twins are on a strict routine. But the truth was simple. Space bent toward my sister. Maybe it's because Lily is the glitter version of everyone's favorite. Louder laugh, big plans, an orbit that makes people believe they're being pulled by the sun. My mother calls her our star. My father calls me steady, then hands me the heavy boxes. Family math is never written down, but you learn how to solve for X anyway. It wasn't just space. It was money, too. Always small, always cheerful. Lily's texts were invoices written in friendship font. "Can you grab the twins' robotics kit? I'll pay you Friday. $199. Friday never came. The sitter canceled. "Can you cover the deposit? $75. You're a lifesaver. Theo's inhaler copay is ridiculous. $62. Love you." My mother's version was gentler. "Don't worry your sister right now. You know how kids are." My father's version was older. "Family helps." My version was renaming a spreadsheet at midnight after I'd spent all day soothing strangers. Lily, tracking. Every dollar lined up like a parade I didn't want to watch. I tried bringing it up once. Calm, logical, careful. "We drive an hour, come early, leave before dinner. It's hard." Mom sighed. "Oh, Anna, don't make everything heavy." Lily jumped in. "Don't guilt trip me because your kids are high energy." "They're children," I said. "Exactly," she replied, and smiled like she'd won a medal for sparring with air. So I tried smaller boundaries. "Please ask before you use my Amazon. Please don't add my card to Instacart. Please don't send me payment requests with no explanation." Lily replied with thumbs up emojis and did all 3 within a week. One day I saw a delivery tip for an address that wasn't mine. Accident, she said. It kept being an accident. Why didn't I blow up? Because blowing up would become the story, and I'd be the villain. My mother has a way of holding her breath that makes you feel like you broke something expensive. I learned to make repairs before the break. Outside of my family, I am efficient. I am kind like a clean line. Inside, I disappear into polite words and logistics. We'll stop by early. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I rearrange myself so everyone fit, everyone except us. Easter. Eli handed Mom a dyed egg in a paper cup. She smiled and set it behind a lamp where no one would see. The twins made 12, she said. Like that explained physics. Thanksgiving, Sophie sat on the floor with her plate because there wasn't a seat. Dad laughed. She's young. Gravity works different at 6. Lily taped Mocha's gold paw print on the fridge and grinned when she caught me looking. He's family, Mom said, like that explained everything. I wanted to ask her whose family we were talking about, but the words felt like a match, and I was tired of smelling smoke. If this sounds like I'm angry, I am. But anger isn't the headline. The headline is grief. Grief for the holidays that taught my kids to stand at thresholds and smile through windows. Grief for the way I started believing the lie that we were too much, too loud, too complicated, too everything. There's a special kind of tired that comes from accepting less under the name of peace. And then this spring, the city offered me a horizon. A promotion, not huge, but enough for a bonus and the mental permission to look at something brighter. I saw it on a Tuesday, a top-floor duplex in a building someone had finally loved back to life. People called it a penthouse. I called it sunlight. 2 balconies, a clean line of sky, room for bunk beds, and a table that didn't wobble. I walked through the empty rooms whispering a word I didn't trust. Mine. I signed the lease, ate Chinese takeout on the floor, and watched the city blink like it couldn't help itself. The keys felt heavy enough to anchor a life. I took one photo, the long window, the dusk pouring in, and sent it to the family chat. Mom replied with 20 exclamation points. Dad wrote, "Proud of you, sweetheart." Lily added, "OMG," then followed it with, "We're packing our things right now." For a second, the old knot in my chest twisted, the kind that tightens before you can name it. Then I felt it loosen, like a ribbon pulled free. I put my chopsticks down. I stared at the message and felt the future turn in my hands. In my head, a lifetime of "will make do" tried to sprint out of my mouth. Fresh sheets, a dog bowl, a spare key, a promise I didn't make but would wake up paying for. I've seen it at the hotel 1,000 times, how one night becomes just until we find something, how kindness becomes entitlement because it's easier to ask than to look inward. The hotel has policies. I needed one for my life. Ryan, my boyfriend, called then. He has the kind of voice that takes you off speaker even when you're still on it. "You're quiet," he said. "My family thinks an empty room means they own the door," I told him. He laughed softly. "You don't owe anyone a lease on your peace." I pictured his hands measuring a window, his mind drawing lines that made sense. "Write the rule," he said, "then keep it." I picked up my phone, typed slowly so I couldn't take it back. "This isn't a hotel. We're not doing that." I pressed send and waited. The city hummed. Upstairs, nobody. Downstairs, nobody. In the new silence, I could finally hear the place breathing. I pictured Eli's blue blanket on the top bunk, Sophie's unicorn pillow on the bottom. I pictured Saturday mornings when the sun pushes through the blinds like it has good news. I pictured my kids' backpacks dropped in a place that didn't roll them back to the car. The phone lit before it hit the table. Lily, then Mom, then Dad. The old choreography of crisis, my family's favorite dance. I picked it up, exhaled the breath I'd been saving for years, and said hello like someone who finally remembered her own name. The next morning, I woke up to sunlight spilling through the tall windows, and my phone vibrating like it owed me an apology. A flood of messages from the family group chat filled the screen. Lily's first. "You were serious? Wait, for real? You're not joking?" Then a string of laughing emojis, as if my boundary was a punchline. Mom had chimed in next. "Anna, you're overreacting. She's your sister. You have space." Dad's was simpler, a peacekeeping emoji he probably thought counted as wisdom. Ryan leaned against the kitchen counter, coffee in hand, watching me scroll. "They're not used to the word no," he said. No, I replied. They're used to me cleaning up the mess after saying yes. I looked around the apartment again, light pooling on the hardwood, the sound of the city filtering in through half-drawn curtains. It didn't feel like luxury. It felt like breathing. That day, I spent hours unpacking what little I had, a few boxes, bunk bed pieces still wrapped in plastic, and my favorite mug with a hairline crack shaped like a lightning bolt. Every sound in the room echoed, as if the walls were learning my name. By evening, the guilt began to creep in like fog through the seams of a closed window. The kind of guilt only family can trigger. I sat on the floor with takeout again and reread Lily's message. We're packing our things right now. She hadn't even asked, just assumed that my life was an extension of hers. The phone rang. Of course it was her. Anna, she started brightly, as if we were sharing good news. Okay, so when should we bring the playpen? You'll love Mocha's new bed, matches the decor perfectly. Lily, I said evenly, there is no Mocha bed here. A pause. Then her voice dropped to that soft, dangerous tone she used when she was deciding whether to play martyr or manipulator. You're serious? Yes. Anna, we can just use the second bedroom. The twins don't mind sharing. You're acting like we're strangers. No, I said again. You're my sister, and that's why I'm finally telling you the truth. You can visit, but you can't stay. Silence on her end, except for a sigh so theatrical I could picture her tossing her hair and rolling her eyes. You're punishing me for Mom's rules, aren't you? This isn't punishment, it's peace. Her laugh was sharp. Peace? You sound like one of those self-help podcasts. Before I could reply, a third voice joined in. My mother. Anna, honey, she began, her tone syrupy but cold underneath. I'm hearing that you're refusing to help your sister. I'm setting a boundary, I said. Boundaries, she repeated, as though the word itself were a bad flavor. Everyone's obsessed with those lately. It's just another excuse to be selfish. I swallowed hard, remembering how she used to use that same tone when I was 10, and refused to lend Lily my favorite doll. It's not selfish, I said softly. It's survival. Ryan, sitting across from me on the couch, mouthed the words, keep calm. Mom pressed on. You have space. They don't. It's simple math. It's my space, I said. That's the math. For a moment, there was quiet, then the inevitable sigh. You've always been difficult, Mom said. Your sister just has more moving parts. I have 2 moving parts, I said. They're called Eli and Sophie. That earned another scoff. Your kids are loud at night, Mom said. The twins sleep like angels. Mocha barks at air, I said. But sure, let's pretend that's adorable. Don't be cruel, she snapped. I'm being clear. Then, like clockwork, Dad's voice appeared, half asleep and weary. What's all this? He asked. Mom pounced on the cue. Your daughter bought a penthouse and doesn't want us in it. It's an apartment, I corrected, and I don't want you living in it. Anna, we helped you, Lily protested. How? I asked before I could stop myself. Support, she said quickly. I let out a humorless laugh. I babysat your kids twice last year, and you still owe me $1,200 since January. Receipts available upon request. Mom inhaled sharply, the sound she made whenever truth arrived uninvited. No one is shifting blame, she said. Family code for you told the truth out loud. Lily pivoted instantly. Fine, not permanent. Just Thanksgiving. We'll host it at yours. It'll make up for everything. No, I said. Mom jumped in. Non-negotiable. It's entirely negotiable, I countered, and I'm saying no. You want revenge for all the years we said there wasn't room, Lily hissed. I looked at the blank wall where a clock would go and pictured Eli and Sophie, backpacks, laughter, the way they run into a new room like it owes them everything. This isn't revenge, I said. It's closure. It's boundaries. Dad tried to play peacemaker. Family helps. Family also respects, I said. You're going to regret this, Lily warned. I'm going to assemble bunk beds, I said, my voice steady. Mom's final attempt was low, threatening. If you shut us out, don't expect us to show up when you need us. I thought about porch hugs and to-go plates and Mocha's personalized stocking. I thought about all the years showing up meant a caption, not an action. I won't, I said quietly. Then I hung up. When the call ended, my hands trembled the way they do after a difficult guest finally leaves the desk. My heart beat fast, as if I'd run miles without moving. The apartment felt too quiet, too honest. I picked up the hex key and started tightening screws on the bunk bed. The metal legs clinked softly, rhythmic and grounding. When I was done, I laid Eli's blue blanket on top, Sophie's unicorn pillow on the bottom. I snapped a photo and sent it to Thomas, their dad. He replied instantly, "Looks like a home." I typed back, "It will be." Later that night, Ryan stopped by with takeout and 2 glasses of wine. We sat on the floor, backs against the wall, surrounded by boxes that smelled faintly of new beginnings. He looked around the room and said quietly, "You know, it's strange how peace sounds like this." "How?" I asked. "Like nothing at all," he said, "but in the best way." I smiled, leaning my head against his shoulder. Then I guess I'm finally learning to listen. 2 weeks after the showdown, I woke up to sunshine and silence, the kind that felt like permission instead of punishment. The apartment smelled like toast and laundry detergent. Eli and Sophie were sitting on the living room floor, surrounded by construction paper, arguing over which marker was the boss of red. "Mom," Sophie asked, "are we making our own house rules like in that cartoon?" "Why not?" I said, half distracted while pouring orange juice. Eli grinned, already scribbling. "Rule number 1, no one sits on the floor unless they want to." "Rule number 2, Sophie added solemnly, "we don't let people just walk in." I froze, juice carton midair. Ryan had stopped by early that morning, and he looked up from the couch where he was tightening the loose screw on the coffee table. He smiled faintly. "Smart kid," he said. Sophie tilted her head. "Even Grandma?" The silence was soft but heavy. Then I smiled. "Even Grandma." We hung the paper on the fridge, a shaky list written in crayon. 1, no surprises. 2, we eat together. 3, we tell the truth, even if it's weird. 4, no guests without asking Mom. 5. We laugh loud. No one gets shushed. It wasn't a manifesto, but it was ours. That week, I started noticing how much lighter my days felt. I still worked 12-hour shifts at the hotel, but home no longer felt like an extension of my exhaustion. It was a recharge station. When I came through the door, the city noise stayed behind, and the walls seemed to sigh with me. Ryan came by most evenings, never uninvited, always with dinner or jokes or both. He said, "You've built something sacred here, Anna." I laughed. "A sacred 2-bedroom with IKEA furniture?" He shrugged. "It's not about square footage. It's about peace per square foot." But peace had to fight for itself. Every few days, I'd get a text designed to test the edges. From Mom. "Your sister is still searching for apartments. You have that second room, right?" From Lily. "Can I store a few boxes till January? It's temporary." Each time, I answered the same. No. Sometimes I'd stare at the word before hitting send. That small, final syllable that felt both strange and powerful. At first, Mom replied with guilt. "You used to be so generous." Then came manipulation. "We raised you better." And finally, silence again, her favorite form of control. One night after work, I came home to find a cardboard box sitting outside my door. No note. I knew that brand of passive-aggressive delivery handwriting anywhere. Inside, a set of holiday linens, embroidered with the Wright family. The ones I'd admired 2 years ago, when Lily got them as a joint gift from our parents. Ryan examined the box. "Peace offering?" "Provocation," I said flatly. "What are you going to do?" I smiled, picked up the box, carried it down to the trash room, and dropped it in with a clean echo. "Return to sender." He let out a low whistle. "You're evolving." I grinned. "No, just uninstalling guilt." By November, I thought they'd given up. Then Lily's text appeared. "Our lease ends this weekend. Movers messed up. Can we crash for a few days?" The old version of me would have felt the reflex, the automatic guilt, the race to fix things. The new version paused, breathed, and typed, "I can help find a hotel. I get a staff discount." Her reply came 5 minutes later. "Wow, cold." I set the phone down, smiled at the irony, and went back to stirring soup for my kids. That weekend, I heard the first knock I didn't expect. I'd just finished bathing Sophie when my phone rang. The building concierge. "Ms. Wright," he said. "There's a woman downstairs with several boxes and a golden doodle. She insists she belongs to you." I sighed. "Oh, she does, but not the way she thinks." When I arrived at the lobby, there she was, Lily, standing on a pile of her own luggage, Mocha in a scarf, her twins tugging at her coat. "Don't be dramatic," she said, as if I was the one staging a performance. "The movers can't come till Tuesday. We'll just stay a couple nights." No, you won't." She blinked. "Excuse me?" "I told you already, Lily, this isn't a hotel." She pulled out her phone, putting Mom on speaker faster than I could object. "She's refusing to help, Mom." I heard that sharp inhale from the other end, the start of another guilt-laced script. "Anna, can't you compromise? 1 suitcase each, 2 nights tops." I looked at the mountain of boxes. That's not a compromise. That's a relocation plan. Lily's face twisted. You used to care about family. I still do, I said quietly. That's why I stopped letting it crush me. For a moment, the lobby was silent except for the hum of the air vents. Then I turned to the concierge. These don't belong to me, I said. His eyes widened slightly. Understood. When I walked away, Lily muttered, You'll regret this. I didn't. That night, I ordered pizza, dragged the coffee table aside, and turned dinner into a floor picnic with Eli and Sophie. They dipped crusts into soda and giggled until the carpet was covered in laughter crumbs. For the first time, I wrote in my journal later, chaos felt safe because it was ours. The next morning, Ryan texted, How's the new tradition? I sent back a photo of Eli and Sophie still in pajamas, watching cartoons, pizza box beside them. Perfectly imperfect, I wrote. Thanksgiving was 2 weeks away, and I had no idea that peace was about to be tested again, one unannounced visit at a time. Thanksgiving week arrived, wrapped in cold wind and false civility. For once, I thought we might slip through the holiday quietly. I'd taken time off work, stocked up on groceries, and planned something small. Just me, Eli, Sophie, and Ryan. Nothing fancy, just peace in portions. By Wednesday, the text started again. Mom, we'll bring the turkey. You just make space. Me, no, Mom. We're doing a quiet dinner at home. Mom, we already told the twins. Me, then you should untell them. I set the phone down, feeling that familiar knot form behind my ribs. I told myself she wouldn't push further. I was wrong. Thanksgiving morning, 10 a.m., the intercom buzzed. Ms. Wright? The doorman's voice came through. There's a family downstairs with a dog and several pies. They say you're expecting them. For a moment, I said nothing, just closed my eyes, let the disbelief settle, and exhaled through my teeth. Describe the dog, I said finally. A golden doodle in a plaid bandana. Of course, I muttered. Ryan, standing by the stove, looked up. Tell me they didn't. Oh, they did. When the elevator doors opened to the lobby, I saw it. Mom holding a pie like a shield. Lily juggling trays. The twins chasing Mocha around the luggage cart. Surprise, Mom called, voice bright with premeditated innocence. I didn't move. No, her smile faltered. What? We're not doing this. Lily rolled her eyes. Anna, don't ruin Thanksgiving. The kids were so excited. I crouched down to meet the twins' eyes. Hey, sweethearts, how about a special park day Saturday? Hot chocolate, playground, the works? They nodded, distracted by Mocha's leash, already tugging away. Kids adjust faster than adults. Lily huffed. You're unbelievable! I know, I said, and consistent. Mom stepped closer, lowering her voice to a hiss meant to sound maternal. You're teaching your children to be selfish. No, I said softly. I'm teaching them that love has doors, not doormats. For a beat, no one spoke. The doorman shifted awkwardly. Ryan appeared behind me, tall, calm, presence solid as stone. You folks heard her, he said quietly but firmly. She's not hosting. Lily's face turned red. Oh, you think you're the enforcer now? He met her gaze. No, just someone who respects her boundaries. Mom's mouth tightened. Fine, we'll just go. I hope you enjoy your tiny little Thanksgiving alone. I will, I said. When the elevator doors closed behind me, my reflection stared back. Steady, not shaking. Upstairs, the smell of roasting chicken filled the air. Not turkey, something simpler. Sophie sat cross-legged on the floor, painting a construction paper turkey. Eli sprinkled too much pepper on mashed potatoes. Ryan poured sparkling water into mismatched glasses. We said grace with laughter instead of ceremony. To new traditions, I said, lifting my glass. To new rules, Ryan added. Eli grinned. To not letting people just walk in. We burst out laughing. It wasn't perfect. Sophie spilled cranberry sauce, burst into tears, and I crouched to hug her. It's a rug, I said. We clean rugs. It's not the end of the world. The TV played the parade in the background, floats drifting across the screen. Through the balcony window, I could see the city glowing gold. Downstairs, my phone buzzed again. A text from Mom. You've changed. I stared at it, then typed back. That's the point. Later that night, I scrolled through social media. Lily had already posted, family is everything, #blessed, #grateful, #home is where the heart is. The photo showed her, Mom, Dad, and the twins at a friend's house. Turkey, candles, the works. I could almost hear the laughter through the screen. But I felt no envy, just a quiet kind of relief. Ryan noticed the look on my face. You okay? I nodded. Yeah, for the first time, I think I actually am. He leaned closer. You sure? I smiled. Peace feels weird when you're new to it. After the kids fell asleep, we stepped onto the balcony. The city wind was sharp, but kind. Ryan wrapped his arm around me. You did it, he said. What? You didn't fold. I exhaled. Feels like I just learned how to stand. Down below, the streets buzzed with traffic and laughter. My phone lit up one more time. Another message from Mom. Your father's disappointed. I typed back, he'll survive, so will I. Then I powered the phone off. We sat there in the glow of the skyline, our reflection in the window, a quiet portrait of something I'd never had before, stability that didn't depend on permission. That night, after Ryan left, I peeked into the kids' room. Eli's blanket had slipped to the floor. Sophie's hand rested on her stuffed bunny. Their faces were soft, unguarded. They slept like people who belonged. And maybe that was all I ever wanted, a space where belonging wasn't borrowed. December arrived softly. The city lights strung up like memories that had learned to forgive themselves. The apartment had taken shape by then, drawings taped to the fridge, Eli's science kit on the counter, Sophie's glitter shoes by the door. The chaos was mine now, and that made it beautiful. I woke each morning to quiet. Not the cold, punished silence my mother used to weaponize, but the warm kind, the one that hums between coffee pours and cartoon giggles. Peace had texture now. Ryan stayed over more often, never assuming, always asking. One night while we decorated the small artificial tree, he said, You ever realize you don't have to earn calm? I looked at him over a tangle of lights. You mean it can just exist? Exactly. It hit me then. I'd spent half my life mistaking exhaustion for love and compliance for kindness. Now I was learning that stillness was an act of courage. Our new traditions grew out of that stillness. Cookie nights, balcony carols, bedtime stories that ended in giggles instead of guilt. When the kids helped me hang ornaments, Sophie whispered, Mom, it feels different here. I smiled, because it's ours. Then, as if on cue, the first crack in the calm, a text from Mom. We got the twins a train set for Eli. We'll stop by to drop it off. My pulse quickened. For a moment, the old instinct kicked in. The part of me trained to rearrange the room, make excuses, prepare for invasion. But I stopped myself. I typed back, Thanks, Mom. We'll see. She replied instantly, We won't stay. I didn't answer. Christmas morning came quietly. The kids padded out in pajamas, eyes wide at the tiny tree. Pancakes sizzled, orange slices gleamed, and Ryan played some soft jazz playlists that made everything feel cinematic. There was no chaos, no doorbell interruptions, just laughter echoing against new walls. Eli held up his gift, a model plane, and said, Mom, are we going to go to Grandma's later? I looked at him carefully. Not this year, honey. We're doing our own Christmas. He nodded, thoughtful. Cool. Can we build this now? Absolutely. We FaceTimed Grandma later that morning. The background of her screen was the familiar noise. Wrapping paper, chatter, Lily's twins running in circles, Mocha barking at air. Hi, Grandma, Sophie yelled. Mom smiled through the screen, eyes soft but tired. Merry Christmas, sweetheart. Lily appeared behind her, overly bright. Merry Christmas, Anna. Kids, we were just saying how quiet it is without you here. I smiled politely. It's peaceful. That single word carried more meaning than an argument ever could. Mom blinked, like she wanted to say something but thought better of it. Then she smiled again. Smaller this time, realer. Well, she said, I'm glad you're happy. Me too, I said. When the call ended, Ryan glanced at me. That sounded almost civil. I shrugged. Maybe she's realizing Peace doesn't need her permission. He smiled, kissing my forehead. You earned this. No, I said quietly. I chose it. That evening, after the kids went to bed, I stood on the balcony with a blanket over my shoulders. The city below glittered with thousands of windows, each one its own little world of stories, of people trying to unlearn the noise they were born into. I thought of all the Thanksgivings spent in driveways, the porch hugs, the to-go plates labeled for Anna's kids. I thought of Mocha's stocking, the empty seats, the quiet humiliation dressed as tradition. And then I thought of this soft night air, this home, this freedom that asked for nothing in return. My phone buzzed one last time that year. A photo from Mom, the twins holding their train set, smiling. The message below it was short. Maybe next year we visit you. I didn't reply right away. I just smiled, feeling something unclench inside me. Maybe next year, maybe not. Either way, I'd be fine. Inside, Eli stirred in his sleep, murmuring something about snow. Sophie's unicorn nightlight glowed faintly. I looked around the room, the small signs of a full life, and finally exhaled. I whispered to myself, for years they said there was no room for us. Turns out I just had to build my own walls and open my own windows. Snow began to fall outside, soft, unhurried. I wrapped the blanket tighter around me and watched it drift down through the city lights, feeling the quiet heartbeat of home. Because peace isn't the absence of family, it's the presence of boundaries. And this was mine.